Hey, Chicago, what do you say? It's the CHGO Cubs pregame show podcast presented by DraftKings, America's top-rated sportsbook. Make sure you download the app. Use the promo code CHGO when you sign up. Game 2, Cubs and Mariners tonight on Marquee. Luke Stuckmeyer and Cody Del Mendo getting you ready. Wearing the same shirt because we're twinning Tuesday.
We didn't even try. Didn't even try to do it.
No, we didn't. Didn't know we were going to be remote, but, some people at home are probably wondering, have they been shunned to their homes because Cody's been drinking beer out of a plastic bat after wins? No, it's just the way the schedule worked out. We got a lot of people in studio tonight. So
if we win tonight, I have a couple Goose Islands here.
Oh, well, that'll work.
I could just drink one, you know what I mean? Like I'll even pour it into a cup if that'll make people happy.
Well, somebody in the chat the other day was suggesting that you chug bomb it. And I'm like, what is a chug bomb? Are they?
Yeah, I don't even know what that is.
Are they talking about shotgunning a beer? And they were like, you pop a hole in the bottom and then you pop the top and you chug. I'm like, that's called shotgunning a beer. I've never heard it called a chug bomb, by the way.
Me neither. That's a first. Is that what the Gen Z kids are saying?
I guess if that's the new vibe, calling it a chug bomb, more power to you.
Our producer Joey, he would know.
Joey at Texas, were those chug bombs?
Nobody calls it that.
Okay. All right.
Just shotgunning a beer. Just making sure. I've never been a fan of it, but that's what it's called.
I will not be doing that. No. I can barely chug. I'm improving on my chugging because of this bit. There's no way I'm gonna be able to shotgun one, man.
We've got you down to 1 minute and 15 seconds. Lucas Fort Miller says you guys need a beer bong. Have you seen that the Orioles are actually doing the Homer hose? They're calling it the Homer hose because it was the dong bong and they must have gotten in trouble. So now it's the Homer hose. I don't think we need that. I think the beer bat's more than enough from Cody post-game celebratory. Hopefully you get one tonight because Hayden Wesneski on the mound. Wesnasty. Right?
Let's
4
go.
2/3 in his first outing of the season. 3 earned runs against the Reds. I picked him that game as my who you got. And I said, listen, he wasn't bad. He just wasn't as good as Steele and Stroman were in their first start. And I think everybody was amped up after this incredible Cactus League performance where he went out and just took the 5th starter spot and said, it's mine and I'm not giving it back. And everybody else, you're catching me now.
Mm-hmm.
Which was great. That's what everybody wanted to see, was somebody take the reins, take the job, and do it. Now tonight he gets a chance to improve on that. Let me put it this way. He battled in the first game. He kept them in it. They actually went on to win that game, right?
They did. That was the game where the Cubs offense broke out, scored 12 runs or something like that.
Vanilla Chill's ready to agree with Luke tonight. Well, that's a start right there. Start of a good night. No, I think Wesneski could be better tonight. The only thing that kept me from, 2 things kept me from picking him for who you got tonight, which we'll get to at the end of the show. One was the wind is blowing out. And 2 was Ryan Herrera took him first thing in the morning. He woke up, set his alarm for 8 a.m. because I'm the only one even up at that time. He must have set his alarm and then picked Wesneski and then rolled back over and went back to sleep.
Yeah. Credit to him. Credit to him.
But
it's a bold night to take him, though. It's almost like me taking Smiley because the wind is blowing out. Like you said, the
center.
Vegas has the over-under total at 10.5. I'm
Ooh.
hoping the Cubs are scoring all those runs. That's all I can say.
Right.
So bold move, Ryan Herrera. Bold move.
Well, he probably didn't know it was blowing out when he took him that early when he was that early in the morning. He was probably still in bed on his phone and then rolled back over, and then later in the afternoon found out the wind was blowing to center 15 miles an hour out to center field.
Yeah.
So we'll see how it plays out. I do expect him to be better, though.
That's the risk of taking someone for who you got that early, though. So
that's right. That's another one. You haven't seen the flags yet.
Fernando's
headed to the game with vibes. Vibe with us, Fernando.
Hell yeah.
Make sure you tell everybody at Wrigley when you stop. You should, Fernando, if you could shake hands with people, just get at one of the gates, shake hands. Hi, I'm Fernando. I'm in from the CHGO chat and hashtag vibe with us. Check us out.
Speaking of vibe with us, someone tweeted at us, not even an hour before we started pregame. I want to say his Twitter name was Furious George. He tweeted a picture of him wearing our CHGO Bricks and Ivy shirt.
He got it before I did.
Yeah. So shout out to him. I think he's a diehard because I think I was, because of his name, I was able to put 2 and 2 together. So I think I've seen him in the Discord. So
cool.
Shout out to you. And
thanks for buying the shirt. Appreciate it.
Yeah.
Hope the Fish Slayer says he's feeling a little bit better. He's got the COVID and seems to be doing a little bit better. I'm Fernando. Stuck said, put my drinks on his tab. That is not the way to go, Fernando. Those were Joey was showing the pictures of the CHGO Bricks and Ivy shirt. On opening day, we unveiled 2 new Cubs themed shirts to the CHGO locker. We've got a lot of just CHGO branded stuff. We've got the Skyline one. We've got the CHGO logo. We've got every team's got something for the Cubs. We've got the Brawler one. We've got the Hey Chicago, What Do You Say shirt. And now we have 2 new ones for this season as well that are out. It's the Bricks and Ivy, CHGO Bricks and Ivy, where the CHGO is written in the red brick. The Ivy's around it, 312 down the middle. And then Beautiful and Historic, shaped like the marquee. Now, you've got that one. Does that have something on the back too? Does the same logo on the back of it too, or just the front?
It's just the front. I believe the brick one has the Beautiful and Historic on the back, right below the collar. Yes, yeah, and it's like smaller, but yeah, it's there. So,
I think I'll probably get both right away, but I think I'm gonna get the Beautiful and Historic first. I'm gonna order it tonight.
There you go. Rachel's in the chat. I saw her tweet earlier that she has had multiple glasses of wine and she plans on staying up tonight to watch the entire game. So I expect Rachel to be in post game here on YouTube after the game. Yeah. And for her sake, I hope that the game kind of goes fast for her that way. Because she is.
Yeah. The only person that loves it more than me is her, probably.
Yeah.
Rachel. Anybody in England probably really likes the pitch clock. Get this stuff over with.
Yeah. Get this over with, man.
Darius says, Stuck, you sure you and Hayden aren't related? You could be this guy's uncle. Laughing my ass off. Could be his great grandfather.
At least he said uncles. Stuck.
I mean, I appreciate the uncle comment, but I probably could be his father.
Yeah.
Very easily could be his father. I definitely have friends who have kids as old as Hayden. So, all right, the lineup is out and the wind blowing out to center field. So I kind of like what the Cubs are doing tonight with the lineup. It's Horner, Swanson, Happ, Mancini at first, Bellinger in center, Wisdom at third, Hosmer, Gomes, Velasquez. What I like is having Wisdom in the lineup at third base. And I like having Velasquez with his home run power and an actual right fielder in right. Like, if I'm going to put somebody in right, it might as well be somebody that can knock it out of the ballpark. In fact, I almost took Velasquez for who you got tonight, just for that reason.
Yeah, I mean, he won minor league player of the week for the Cubs. So he's coming. He's coming here red hot, right? I'm hoping at least. And but I'm trying to have some tempered expectations because let's not forget he did struggle here last year, and AAA pitching is different from Major League pitching. But I do like the matchup he has tonight because I'm not. I don't know about you, but I'm just not really afraid of Chris Flexen like I am Luis Castillo. So, and with the wind blowing out, I think that there's a chance that maybe he hits one out tonight. So that's not a bad idea if you would have, but he is batting ninth, so he's not going to have as many opportunities as guys like Horner, Swanson, Happ.
Bellinger.
And Bellinger too. As far as the lineup, I'm the only thing that I'm just confused about, and you kind of mentioned it in Slack when we were talking about it, is Hosmer's DHing while Mancini is playing first, and Cubs are going to continue to push this.
And yesterday too.
Yeah, and if the Cubs are going to continue to push this whole Hosmer, Gold Glover, all this stuff, I mean, Mancini's he's serviceable to play at first, right?
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's like, why don't you just play Hosmer at first every time you're going to play him and let Mancini DH? I don't know if it has to do with just, getting Mancini out there to to be able to
Right.
play the field. And I don't know what his splits are whenever he's playing first base compared to DH yet. I'm sure there aren't enough numbers to determine what he's better at. You know what I mean? But that's the only thing. Just because obviously Hosmer is quote unquote the better defensive one. You know, he's made some nice plays this year. I know I gave him a lot of crap about the air on Sunday in a video that I tweeted out, but other than that, like he's Eric Hosmer's been a pleasant surprise overall. So I don't mind that he's DHing or whatever. I don't necessarily understand it. That's the only thing about the lineup that I don't particularly like or agree with.
There were some questions to Jed Hoyer. We'll have some of that coming up before the game starts here in the pregame show. Brian Herrera sent us some audio from Jed Hoyer down on the field at Wrigley. We'll hear from that. As far as I know, I haven't heard anybody ask why Mancini over Hosmer at first base. I don't know if, maybe he's got a little sore hamstring or something, but he's, I don't know what it is. Maybe he's a little banged up, or maybe, like you said, they just want to make sure that Mancini's getting some work at first base. But this is 2 games in a row, so now I'm kind of like, what's going on? There's got to be some reason for it.
Yeah,
I don't know. We'll find out. I'm sure somebody will ask afterwards. I would hope, but
yeah. And I think Jay Hance in the chat, he has a good point. He says could just be give extra rest since it's still early in the season. I guess DHing someone is a way of resting a guy without him having to go play defense and just have
he might be a little nicked up from something, right?
Yeah,
we just don't know. That's why I want somebody to hopefully ask that in the post game.
Yeah, again, it's not the biggest deal in the world. It's not like you're putting Madrigal at shortstop or something like that, but like,
it's not like Madrigal's playing first base.
yeah, right.
Although we will get to Jed Hoyer's response to what he thought of the stolen base, what went through his mind when he saw Madrigal stealing third base yesterday. He steals third. Nico drives him in. Cubs win 3-2 in extra innings. And the Cubs with a chance tonight to win 5 out of 6 and secure their second series win over the American League West in a row on the homestand. So it could be a series win and a series win before they head out to California, which will not be an easy road trip. And so when you have an opportunity like that tonight and you have Wesneski on the mound, go ahead and get it so that you can give Stroman a shot for the sweep. Like, don't waste this opportunity. And, we just haven't seen home runs. I mentioned the wind blowing out because we haven't seen home runs from the Cubs, right? Like they're near the bottom of Major League Baseball. I think when we looked at it on Friday, they were 4th from the bottom in baseball. And we know that they don't have the automatic power on this team. There's guys that have the potential. Mancini's got potential to hit home runs. Bellinger's got the potential to hit home runs. Dansby has the potential to hit home runs. So there are guys that, Wisdom, of course, there are guys that can hit home runs. We just haven't seen it so far this season. Yeah. And it's not guaranteed that any of those guys are big home run threats. It's not like Aaron Judge is in the lineup, right?
Right.
So I look at the lineup and I say they've got to do everything right. But this is a chance tonight where maybe you don't have to steal third to win the game. Maybe you can actually slug the baseball out of Wrigley Field and Wesneski keeps the score down on the other side and you're able to. Jed always talks about great teams blow teams out. That's the measure of a good team. They start winning games by 5 and more runs. Well, we haven't seen a whole lot. So far, we've seen like this team's going to have to scratch and claw and fight for pretty much everything this season. I saw the quote from Yan Gomes after the game last night saying, hey, we're building some – people need to understand we're trying to build something special, and we have too good of players, too good of a coaching staff, and too great of a fan base that's with us on every pitch not to, just hang up our hat and glove one night and be like, we can take tonight off. Like, we want to show that we're going to scratch and claw. Well, frankly, that's the only way they're going to make it work this year. It's not a superstar. There are a lot of good players on the team. Some have superstar potential, but they don't have a top 5 player in baseball on their team.
No.
Seattle does, by the way.
Julio Rodriguez.
And they took care of him yesterday.
I think that was one of the more surprising things from yesterday is that Julio Rodriguez didn't do anything outside. I think he did work a walk in the late innings, but
last at bat. last at bat, wasn't it?
Yeah.
We were worried that he was gonna. I was like, oh, Keegan, I don't know. Don't want the mayor to put one over the middle of the plate here on 3-2, and he just walked him and then got out of the inning.
Yeah. And we talked about that on post game. To your point about the power, I mean, they have broke out. They haven't hit. I think Wisdom has been the only one who's hit a home run in these like breakout offensive games. Like on Saturday when they scored 10 runs, he had a home run in that game. And when they put up 12 on the Reds in that last game before the next one got rained out, I don't think anyone hit a home run. But they had 16 hits though. But they put up 12 runs. So like, it would have been a little bit alarming if they had 16 hits and not double-digit runs, in my opinion, in a game like that. So while yes, you'd like to get more power, and they're going to need it as the season goes along, to be 5-4 and only have 7 home runs as a team. I want to say it's 7. Don't let the facts get in the way of a good story. Yeah. To only have that many home runs as a team and be 5-4 and play the teams that they've played at this point, like, things could be worse. I'd be a little bit more worried or something like that, or begging for Mervis if they were like, if they only had like 3 or 4 wins. And right now the Mariners have 4 wins. So
it tells you the pitching's been pretty good. Pitching's
been
pretty good so far, especially the starting pitching. Nolan Smith joining the live stream for the first time ever on YouTube. Nolan, welcome. And rule of the live show, again, if you want your name to be read in the chat, the best way to do it is to super chat. The second best way is to say, I agree with Luke, and then ... whatever you want to say. That it will always get you mentioned in the chat. So say it taking DP. Did you see that at Iowa?
Oh, that say
yeah, Hoyer said he basically confirmed what we were talking about yesterday. Say is going to play in Iowa tonight and tomorrow, and then they're going to wait and see. The Cubs are off on Thursday, and then they'll wait and see if he travels with the team. But it sounds like if things go well in Iowa, it sounds like there's a pretty good chance that he's with the Cubs when they head out to California.
Yeah, which is exciting. And we were just talking about power. I'm telling you, he's going to be a big boost for that alone, in my opinion. And it comes with a great approach at the plate. My only thing I'm worried about is the oblique. He's got to find a way to stay on the field. He's such a difference maker in this lineup. When Seiya Suzuki is back, and you can insert him right there in the middle with Bellinger and Mancini and Hosmer, with Happ and Swanson and Horner at the top, and the way that they've been playing to start the year, you're looking at a lineup that you can feel pretty confident in, at least a little bit more. I'm not saying it will be the best lineup in baseball, but I'm saying you can feel confident that they can go out and score runs with the way that the rest of this team's been playing right now without him. So, Michael Collada is in the chat saying should be 7-2. Not surprised. You're the Godfather, man. At the same time, be 5-4 and you not have Seiya Suzuki in the lineup at all. It says a lot about the pitching. And yeah, sure, we talked about the game that David Ross blew, basically, or not necessarily blew, but just wasn't good. And yeah, the series against Milwaukee, specifically the one that Steele started, not great. I think that early in the year, he's trying to figure out who he can trust the most and stuff like that, on top of the fact that trying to figure out roles for guys. And I think we're starting to see some of that come together. You're starting to see Wisdom at third base a little bit more. You're starting to, we get Velasquez tonight in right field, so you finally have a right fielder there. Like, I think that you have to have some leeway the first couple weeks of the year when it comes to this type of stuff, unless you're a World Series caliber team, when you just have things locked in. And we've been honest all winter, all spring. This isn't a World Series team. This is a team that's building and, perhaps could go to the postseason this year. And the way that they're playing right now, I don't know. I still don't know if they're going to go to the postseason, but they're definitely a lot more fun. And they still haven't called up some of these young guys down the minors that have a lot of excitement around them. So I like where things are headed. Yes, things could be better, but also at the same time, things could be worse too. So yeah, I'll take a 5-4, 9 games in, all things considered.
Now, Collada is right. 7-2 would be better. 7-2, 72. All great things happen in 72. Bulls won 72 games once, and I was born in 72. So you're right, Collada. Like, We never should doubt you. 7-2 would be better.
I'm sorry for doubting you, Michael. You are the godfather. I'll salute you.
Colada, do you have any picks for Cody that he could make on DraftKings tonight? Or Cody, what is you didn't last night? You went Triple H and it didn't happen on the hits parlay for DraftKings. What are you going with tonight?
So I tweeted out earlier. We were rolling with Swanson, Hosmer, and Nico Horner to all get a hit tonight. Comes out to plus 144 when you use that DraftKings boost. All three heavily favored to get a hit tonight. That's why it's a 3-leg parlay at just plus 144. So
Swanson, Hosmer, and
Horner. Yep.
Right.
The Cubs don't have a lot of experience against Flexen, but I went with these three because you got the top two of the lineup, and we've already talked about how the wind's blowing out, and we've talked about how those two guys have been hitting and playing well.
Yeah.
And also Eric Hosmer has been playing very well. I was looking at his numbers on Fangraphs today. Weighted runs created plus 119 right now. 119, 120, something like that. I mean, that's 20% above league average. There's some Dell metrics for you. So I think that I feel good about the three. I felt good about last night's. This is gambling, Luke. Like, you feel good about a bet and then sometimes doesn't hit. But I like it. I also like Flexen to go under. I think his line was 3.5 strikeouts. I like him to go under 3.5 strikeouts tonight because I think the Cubs will at least make some decent contact against him. Again, he's not someone like Luis Castillo that scares me and is going to rack up the strikeouts, in my opinion. So now that I said that, he probably will. So take the over. But I
couldn't do no runs first inning tonight.
No.
Now with the wind blowing out,
no.
Can't do it. Colada wants us to do a segment in every pregame called "Will We Stinks or Won't We Stinks." So Cody tonight is going with the hit parlay: Swanson, Horner, Hosmer.
I like
Interesting. Other injury updates that we had. Cody Hoyer threw an inning of BP today. They didn't have an update on how that went, but he said he's been looking good. And when he can come off the 60-day, they are hopeful he'll be able to come off the 60-day. So he said it was like a 14-month injury is what the doctor said, and they hope he'll be right at 14 months for that surgery. Who else was? Kyle Hendricks, 2 innings tomorrow he'll pitch, and is very close to getting ready to go out on rehab stint. So Kyle Hendricks getting close to playing in some real games. He's going to, in Arizona, throw 2 innings out there. So we'll see how those two things go. Last night, number one was the comeback win, right? That was the cool part. It was Nico's first ever walk-off winner. He wore the cowboy hat afterwards, which apparently is going to be maybe the Cubs thing for walk-off winners this year. We hope that they wear that hat more than once this season.
Mm-hmm.
Last year, they wouldn't have worn it very many times.
For Michael Collada's sake, let's hope that it's just tied in the 9th inning, entering the 9th inning, and not the Cubs leading by a run.
That's right.
You know what I mean?
But it was a pretty well played game. You know, it was not it wasn't a slugfest. It was a well played game. Important plays were made throughout the night. And the emphasis all season so far has been on pitching. Jed Hoyer talked at Wrigley Field. Ryan Herrera was down there. Joey, do we have that Hoyer talking about just kind of the strength of the pitching staff so far this season? And what he thought was interesting enough. What he thought was the play of the game last night, what really won the game. And believe it or not, Cody and I said it on the post-game show last night.
I mean, I think that's how the way we're built to win is by getting in, starting pitching, throwing strikes, making the plays. We have a really good defense, and I think that the games that we've played really clean baseball, we've won. And even last night, it was a 3-2 game. And I feel like it's so important for us to get good starting pitching, to be able to turn over a lead or a close game in the middle innings, and it's important that we make those plays. I mean, to me, the whole game was won or lost with Dancy's play at third. That's such an underrated play, but I don't think many shortstops in the game have the guts to do that in that moment and the hands to do that. And he makes that play, and all of a sudden they don't score on the 8th, and it allows us to win that game later on. And so I think making little plays like that is so critical. I mean, I think that's how the way we're.
There you go. He's listening to the CHGO Cubs postgame show presented by DraftKings. He was like, you know what? Those guys are right. It was that Dansby play thrown over. Yeah. There's been a couple games this season where you can actually point to defensive plays and say, that was it. You know, we got into the whole Gomes versus Wilson Contreras conversation last night, even though Gomes hit one to the wall. He was over at the plate, right? And there was a conversation like, well, he's not good enough. That's not what Jed Hoyer is building his team around this year. Yes, they do need more power, but they believe they have two defensive catchers that they will be able to lead this pitching staff in the way they want the pitching staff to be led. Yeah. And it will come with some defensive plays. Not that Wilson didn't make defensive plays. They just think that these guys, for the price that they get, right, so you can spend the money on Dansby and some other places, they believe they improved their team by beefing up the defense side of it a little bit behind home plate and then spread the money out, whether it's 1-year deals or 2-year deals or the 7-year deal with Dansby. That's what they believe they've done. And tonight, you try to see another young pitcher, and with the wind blowing out, I'm glad that Yan Gomes is back there calling the shots for him and can keep him calm. If a windblown home run happens to Wesneski, I like to call him. If it happens to him, I like that you have a veteran guy back there who knows what to say and what to do.
Yeah, I mean, I'm so over the Gomes or Contreras like debate. It's not a debate. We know the pros of what Wilson Contreras brings to the 100%. Game, and we know what Yan Gomes and Tucker Barnhart bring to the game. We understand that the Cubs straight up went with those two catchers because of mainly coaching decisions. I mean, Ken Rosenthal literally wrote an article where he talked about how David Ross and all of them had all these scenarios or situations where, you know, they it's not that they didn't think he was good. It's just more of what their style of the type of catcher that they want. And like that is what it is. Anyone who thinks this has to do with money just is still living in like 2021 or 2020, 2019. Like how can you say it's money whenever you let Wilson walk and then you give Dansby Swanson $177 million? I don't know. But at this point,
just wanted to put the money in different places.
Right. At this point, you have, if you watch the Cubs on a consistent basis and you care about defense specifically, you have to like what you've seen from Barnhart and Gomes at this point. And even Barnhart had a couple hits on Sunday. I know the Cubs lost the game, but he had a couple hits. Yan Gomes hit a homer on Saturday. They're not Wilson Contreras when it comes to hitting. Duh. But
no, we know. Heck, the two of us sat on there for the first half of the season saying sign the guy.
Yeah.
We were all about it. The whole first half of the season. We were on there saying that why don't they just re-sign Wilson? The guy's the heartbeat of the team, yada, yada, yada. Like, okay, they didn't. So I've just moved on from the storyline, and it is what it is. They chose a different route. They know more about baseball than I do. And one way or the other will be proven correctly before it's all said and done. We'll find out. Exactly. I don't doubt that they're going to be right, but anyway.
Well, Cardinals off to a 3-7 start. Do I think that they'll be better? Yes. But savor the flavor, guys.
Right. Gomes has how many home runs?
1.
And Wilson has?
0.
Okay, so far they're winning the move. All right. Who you got? Ryan, as I mentioned, quick on the draw with the pick early this morning. Who you got picks? Ryan went Wesneski. Then I believe it was Corey jumped in from the top of the ropes with the Dansby Swanson pick. Surprisingly, after becoming the who you got winner last night and 3 hits and knocking in the game winner and stealing who you got from Drew Smiley, nobody picked Nico tonight.
Weird.
That seems strange. You went Hosmer?
Yes.
Cody?
Yes, I went Hosmer. He's got a couple knocks against Flexen in his career. And like I've said, I think I've said it twice now, he's playing really well right now. The numbers through 8 games are great. And he's been a part of some big moments in scoring runs the last couple of days. So ride the hot hand, in my opinion. I know he's batting 7th tonight, so I said that I was gonna be in the lab and I was gonna win who you got tonight, and you could lock it in. Mm-hmm. This is another play. Like this is almost like taking Smiley last night,
which was bold. It was bold.
This is also bold, even though he's been playing well, because I could have taken Nico. I could have, and I feel like Nico's gonna have a good game tonight, but I wanted to be a little bit bold. All right.
I had a lot of ways I could have gone with this. I went with Bellinger because the wind was blown out, and I still think he might lead the team in home runs. And so I think it's time he gets his second home run. Mm-hmm. Wisdom hit the ball hard last night once, but I took him last night. I don't like taking the same guy 2 nights in a row, so I didn't take Wisdom. I told you I thought about Velasquez. Yeah. And then Nico was still sitting there, and I was like, well, this is stupid. Why am I not taking Nico? But I went Bellinger because I think somebody's going to hit a home run, and I think he's more likely to hit a home run than I think Nico is, but I could be wrong, and that's what we're seeing it happen. We'll see what happens.
We'll see.
We'll play it out. By the way, it's the Tommy La Stella revenge game tonight. I was hoping we were going to get La Stella versus Madrigal at DH. That would have been epic.
We would have talked about that for a whole 15 minutes on post.
Yeah, now only Jesse Rogers is going to talk about it because he'll go after the game. He'll go interview La Stella for 30 minutes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
that's his guy.
I actually, like, in all seriousness, I'm a little nervous for when Wesneski goes up against La Stella because we know La Stella is a contact guy.
Yeah,
and it's a lefty versus righty, and I think
he does hit home runs.
Yeah,
every once in a while, he had one season where he was just knocking them out left and right.
Yeah. So I am actually a little nervous about that. And I'm also nervous about Suarez just because he's a Cubs killer in general. But I'm any lefty that Wesneski has to face tonight. I'm actually a little nervous because the wind blowing out. But other than that, I think that if he can strike out 8 tonight, I think you're feeling good about the Cubs winning this game. It's asking for a lot, but when I say 8 strikeouts, that means that no one's putting the ball in play. So that's what I'm asking for. The Vegas line was 4.5. I'm asking for 8. Give me 8, and I think the Cubs win.
All right, we'll see what happens. Thanks for everybody joining the chat. Had a good time, good chat. Again, we'll see you in the post-game show for an hour afterwards. On your way out, if you haven't done it yet, make sure you subscribe to the CHGO Sports YouTube page so you don't miss any of the live shows and you're reminded when they're coming up, stuff like that. We appreciate that. We'll be here, like I said, Cody and I will be here post-game. Ryan hopefully will join us after he does his work in the clubhouse. And make sure if you're watching the game tonight, one way to do it is you can go straight over and stream this baby on Fubo TV because they have marquee. It's a good way to check it out. Fubo TV, don't miss it tonight. We'll see you after we light the W tonight.